It started with the sound of a door opening, a sound that had no right to echo through my house at 7:30 in the morning. I was in the kitchen, sipping black coffee in silence, watching the condensation roll down the glass window like lazy tears. The kind of silence you only get after years of discipline, years of early mornings and straight lines. My boots were still caked with dust from yesterday's site visit, and the smell of sawdust clung to my clothes like a second skin. That was the life I'd built. The life I thought she wanted. Then I heard the front door creak open. She wasn't supposed to be back yet. I turned my head just enough to catch the reflection in the oven glass, her silhouette, purse on her arm, heels clicking with the smug rhythm of someone who thought they were still 2 steps ahead. Her name was Lauren. And she didn't come back like someone who had forgotten her phone. She came back like someone who thought they'd gotten away with something. "Morning, babe," she chirped. Her voice sounded light, too light. "You wouldn't believe the morning I've had. Emergency strategy meeting with the Hargrove account. Total mess." She didn't look at me when she said it. That's how I knew. I didn't reply. Just watched her blazer too sharp, makeup too perfect, lips still fresh with gloss. Not a hair out of place. A woman doesn't spend an hour getting ready for an emergency meeting unless the emergency is how to impress someone else. Someone she wanted. I set my mug down carefully, letting the sound of ceramic on granite hang there between us like an accusation. "New dress?" I asked. She barely flinched. That was new. Usually, she'd offer a rehearsed smile, a twirl, a joke about keeping up appearances. But this time, she just smirked. "A woman has to look her best, even in chaos," she said, slipping her phone out like it was a reflex. Her fingers danced across the screen. She laughed, soft, quick, too private for a text from her boss. 8 years I'd been married to her. And in 8 years, Lauren had never laughed at a work message. I turned back to the window. Outside, the world went on as usual, kids racing bikes, sprinklers sputtering across green lawns, morning sun kissing rooftops. But inside that house, I felt something shift. Something break loose. The kind of shift you only notice after it's too late. I didn't say a word. Not then. Not yet. But something told me the next time that door opened, it wouldn't just be her coming through it. It would be everything. I didn't go looking for the truth. It came for me, served up at a neighborhood barbecue, sizzling under the late summer sun like the sausages on Tom Peterson's grill. It was supposed to be just another weekend cookout. Same crowd. Same drinks. Same stories. Tom stood next to me flipping burgers, beer in one hand, metal spatula in the other. Across the lawn, Lauren was surrounded by the younger wives. All of them clustered together like they were back in high school, laughing too loud, tilting their phones toward each other, eyes glinting with secrets. "Hey," Tom said, nudging me lightly with his elbow. "You heard about the new hotshot at Lauren's firm?" I didn't look away from the grill. "No." "Name's Derek," he said. "Derek Harrington. Marketing wizard. Or at least that's what Lisa says. Fresh from some agency in Seattle. Apparently he's turning everything upside down. Big personality. Flashy. Carrington?" I said. The name wasn't unfamiliar. I'd heard it once or twice, dropped casually by Lauren over the past few months. But always like a footnote. A coworker. Someone in the background. Nothing that stood out until now. "Yeah," Tom went on. "Lisa says the women in the office call him the charmer. Guys got away with words and with married women, from what I hear." I turned to look at him then. Just a second. Just long enough for the words to hit full force. That's when Sarah Matthews approached us, empty plate in hand, eyes darting between the grill and the gossip. "Oh," she said, "you're talking about Derek." Something about her voice made Tom glance at her. She hesitated, then added, "That's what some of the women at the country club call him. Derek. He's been showing up a lot lately." "The country club?" I asked. "The one we pay $5,000 a year for?" Sarah's eyes dropped to her plate. "Yeah, he's been Lauren's tennis partner for a few weeks now. Usually on Thursdays. Long matches, I guess." I said nothing. I didn't need to. The silence said enough. Sarah gave me a tight-lipped smile and walked off. Tom opened his mouth to change the subject, but I held up a hand. Across the yard, Lauren's phone buzzed again. She smiled at the screen, turned just enough to shield it from the other women, and then started typing. Fast. With a grin that wasn't meant for me. I felt something inside me settle, not the storm I expected, not rage or even hurt. Just a cold certainty. Like when a soldier steps onto unfamiliar terrain and sees the first tripwire. That night, driving home, Lauren finally broke the silence. "Peterson's parties used to be fun," she said, staring out the passenger window. "Now it's just the same people, same boring lives. Everyone's stuck." I didn't look at her. "Like Derek Carrington?" She let out a short laugh, a little too loud. Oh, so the barbecue gossip mill got to you. Yes, Derek and I play tennis. He's actually good at it. Unlike some people who think exercise involves lifting plywood. You never mentioned Thursday tennis before. What, should I run all my lunch breaks by you now? She snapped. He's a colleague. A successful one. A man with drive. Maybe if you spent less time babysitting construction crews and more time thinking about the future, we'd have something to talk about. I pulled into the driveway. Shut off the engine. You think I built this life by mistake? I asked quietly. You think this house, your car, your career, that it just happened? She stepped out and slammed the door without answering. 8 years. 8 years I gave her everything I had. Every late night. Every scraped knuckle. Every calculated risk. And now she was looking at me like I was the anchor that kept her from drifting into some fantasy of champagne and charm. She didn't know it yet, but her fantasy was about to hit solid ground. And I was going to be the one holding the hammer. The morning of our 8th anniversary, I left the house before dawn. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. There's something about driving empty roads while the rest of the world still sleeps that helps a man think clearly. And I needed clarity. I needed control. My crews were already on site by 6:30. I gave out assignments quickly, efficiently. No time wasted. No idle chatter. By 11 a.m. I was in my truck, heading back, not with flowers or dinner reservations, but with a briefcase full of truth. It wasn't leather like the one I carried for years. This one was metal. Lockable. Cold to the touch. I'd spent the last 2 weeks gathering everything I needed. Surveillance footage. Bank statements. Screenshots. Transcripts. 3 neatly labeled folders sat inside the case. I didn't need backup. I had certainty. And that's more dangerous than any weapon. When I pulled into the driveway, her car was already there. Perfect. I walked through the front door with calm purpose. She was waiting in the living room, lounging like a queen on the Italian leather sofa I bought her for Christmas 2 years ago. Legs crossed, one arm draped across the backrest, a manila envelope in her hand. You're home early, she said with a smirk. It's our anniversary, I replied. Thought we should talk. How thoughtful, she purred. I actually have something special planned. She handed me the envelope, eyes glinting with something that wasn't joy. Go ahead, she said. Open it. I didn't move. Divorce papers, she added when I didn't react. With a proposal. My jaw tightened, but I kept my posture relaxed. Proposal? Derek and I have discussed it, she said smoothly. We thought it might be enlightening for all of us to spend tonight together. As a transition. I stared at her. Explain. She stepped closer. Her perfume hit first, rich, expensive, suffocating. He'll be joining us tonight. You, me, and Derek. One last night together before the papers go through. He's already shown me how a real man handles things. I thought it might be fun to show you two. She smiled. Call it closure. I nodded slowly. You invited him here. To my house. He should be arriving any minute, she said, already reaching for her phone. Actually, he's early. The doorbell rang. I didn't flinch. It was strange how betrayal doesn't hurt when you expect it. It burns hotter, sure, but cleaner. All that was left in me now was steel. She practically skipped to the front door. Swung it open with flair. And there he was. Derek Harrington. 6'4", immaculate suit, white teeth too bright to be real. Hair slicked back like a movie villain auditioning for a role he thought he deserved. He held a bottle of champagne and a smug expression carved into his face like it was chiseled in granite. You must be the husband, he said, his tone dipped in condescension. Lawrence told me all about you. I didn't answer. Instead, I reached into my pocket and pressed the discreet button on my key fob. Click. A hum began to echo through the house. Heavy metal shutters descended over the windows. Front and back doors locked with a snap that made Derek flinch. The afternoon sunlight vanished, leaving the room steeped in dim shadows. Lauren's face dropped. What the hell is this? Insurance, I said calmly. Against intruders. Derek chuckled nervously. Come on now, Marcus. Can I call you Marcus? Let's not make this dramatic. I turned to him slowly. You know what's interesting about men like you, Derek? He didn't answer. You think success is a suit. A grin. A well-practiced line. But I built this house with sweat, blood, and calloused hands. While you were learning to tie a Windsor knot, I was rebuilding entire cities. And now you're standing in my house, on my floor, with my wife, thinking you're the one in control. I stepped past them both and placed the briefcase on the coffee table. Opened it with a satisfying click. Before you get too comfortable, I said, let's open your gift. 3 folders. Labeled. Heavy with consequence. I slid the first one open and let the photograph spill across the table. Derek with multiple women. Every single one married. Every single one from Lauren's office. Every single shot timestamped. Lauren snatched a photo. You've been stalking him? I looked at her. Really looked at her. I've been watching you. He was just the side benefit. Derek's charm was starting to crack. Those were business meetings. In hotel rooms? I held up my phone. With your mouth on Susan from accounting? Lauren backed away from the coffee table like the truth burned her fingers. Then I opened folder number 2. Loan statements. Gambling debts. Bookie threats. 700 grand in gambling losses, I said, tapping one page. Paid in part with company money. Funny how some of those transfers came from your login, Lauren. She went still. The third folder came out like the final nail in the coffin. Security footage. You remember those late nights at the office? I asked. Well, so does the security company. You weren't working late. You were moving money. She tried to speak. I cut her off. You accessed client accounts. You forged records. You transferred funds offshore. And for what? To bankroll him? Derek finally spoke again, weaker this time. You have no idea what you're doing. No, I replied, I know exactly what I'm doing. My phone buzzed. Perfect timing, I said. That was your bookie, Derek. He just got the photos. He's quite interested in where you are. I watched Derek pale. His shoulders dropped like someone had taken the bones out of his spine. Lauren lunged for her purse. I need to call my lawyer. Which one? I asked. The firm's attorney? Or the one I just sent the prenup violation video to? She froze. The steel shutters whispered against the walls. My neighbors were already gathering outside. Phones up. Recording. Waiting. The stage was set. I hope you enjoyed planning my humiliation, I said. Now let me show you how a real man responds. I pressed the release button. The metal shutters began to rise with a slow mechanical hum, dragging sunlight and silence into the room in equal measure. The shadows peeled back like a curtain before a final act. Outside, the crowd had grown, neighbors lining the sidewalk, some with phones raised like lighters at a concert, some just watching in stunned curiosity. Derek stood frozen, bottle of champagne still in his hand like a joke that had outlived its punchline. Lauren backed away from the light, mascara streaks trailing down her cheeks, the shine of her anniversary outfit now looking like a costume. Her voice cracked. What have you done? I stepped to the doorway, turned the knob, and pulled it wide open. A soft breeze brushed in, the air outside was cooler, clean. I gave you what you wanted, I said. An audience. From the front lawn, I saw familiar faces. Tom Peterson. His teenage sons. Sarah Matthews. Even Mrs. Carmichael, the elderly widow who hadn't left her house since her hip surgery, stood on her porch in her robe, squinting over her gardenias. Phones raised. Some recording. Others already live-streaming. A man from across the street called out, "Everything all right, Marcus?" I answered loud enough for everyone to hear. Just dealing with some uninvited guests. They had a surprise planned for our anniversary. The word anniversary carried through the crowd like a jolt. Lauren's face drained of what little color it had left. Her hands shook as she reached for Derek's arm. We can still, Marcus, please, this doesn't have to be. It already is, I said. Derek made a break for it first. He bolted for the door like a rabbit spotting open brush. But the second he stepped outside, the street erupted in applause. Not cheers, applause. A slow, mocking rhythm. One clap, then two, then dozens, rising into a cruel, perfect beat. Someone shouted, "Walk of shame." And someone else whistled. He hesitated just long enough for the cameras to catch the fear flicker in his eyes, then walked faster, head low, suit wrinkled, looking more like a fired mall Santa than a seductive playboy. Lauren tried to follow, but her heels clicked too loud against the pavement. Click, 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 each step a confession. She passed by her neighbors, people she used to gossip with, people she used to impress at brunch. Now they stared back like jurors. Phones still raised. Faces stone cold. No sympathy left in the tank. Tom Peterson's kid whispered, "Is that her lover?" and someone nearby laughed. I didn't follow them. I didn't need to. The moment had taken on a life of its own. Instead, I stood in the doorway, straight-backed, calm, unmoved. I let them go. I let the neighborhood see everything. And I didn't say a word. Because that's the thing about revenge. You don't need to scream. You don't need fists. You just need the truth and a crowd to hear it. By the next morning, our quiet suburban street had turned into a media circus. News vans lined the curb, their satellite dishes blooming like metallic flowers. Cameramen stood on my lawn, adjusting lenses. Reporters called out questions I didn't answer. I let the security footage do the talking. The clip of Lauren and Derek inside my home, laughing, whispering, planning how they would humiliate me on our anniversary, went viral within hours. Her voice, once so polished and sure, could be heard saying, "Let's see how he handles modern romance." The internet handled it just fine. Her firm called an emergency board meeting. By noon, their CEO issued a statement announcing a full audit and Lauren's immediate suspension. I didn't have to press charges. The evidence spoke louder than any lawyer. Turns out Derek had a trail of women just like Lauren, married, affluent, and disillusioned. A few came forward quietly at first. Then all at once, one had taken out a loan for him. Another had invested in a fake app he promised to build. All of them pieces in the same tired con. My folders had outlined every step of his pattern. The prosecutors thanked me. One of them said it was the cleanest documentation they'd ever seen. Lauren, for her part, tried to play the victim. Claimed I'd trapped her. That I was controlling. That she had only wanted a moment of escape. The court didn't buy it. The prenup was ironclad. She'd broken the fidelity clause. And with proof of financial misconduct, the civil suits were relentless. Her own parents, furious that she used their firm's accounts to funnel money, withdrew their support. Her father publicly called her a deep disappointment. Her mother refused to speak to her at all. In the end, she pled out to avoid jail time, but restitution buried her. She lost the house, the car. Her designer wardrobe went on auction. Her old friends stopped returning her calls. Last I heard, she was working retail at a mall 2 towns over, folding jeans for teens who had seen her fall on TikTok. As for Derek, he ran, but not far. They caught him 6 states away, hiding out in a motel with a stolen identity, a bad tan, and a duffel bag of burner phones. His mugshot went national. The smile was gone. He cried in court. Said he was misunderstood. Said he had a gambling addiction. Said he loved Lauren. No one believed a word. He was sentenced to 5 years for fraud with additional charges pending from 2 other states. Word is, his bookie found him before the marshals did. The limp in his leg is permanent now. So is the scar on his jaw. I didn't smile when I heard that. I didn't have to. Instead, I rebuilt. Not just the house, though I moved to a bigger one, with vaulted ceilings, wide windows, and a back porch that caught every sunset. A home where the past had no place. Where every room was mine, every decision mine. No whispers behind doors. No stolen lunch breaks. And no lies. I met someone at a fundraiser for veterans 3 months later. Her name was Rachel. A widow. Strong in quiet ways. She didn't play games. She asked real questions and gave honest answers. We built something slowly. Day by day. Now, when I wake up, there's no suspicion in the air. No click of heels at odd hours. No phone buzzing under covers. Just peace. Sometimes I still get letters from Lauren. I never open them. Whatever she wants to say now doesn't matter. Not after what she tried to do. Not after she tried to turn our anniversary into my breakdown. Instead, I kept the security footage. Not out of bitterness, but as a reminder. Not of how she betrayed me, but how I chose to respond. With facts. With calm. With truth. And in front of everyone.